the ring, doorbell app pinged in the middle of the night, and I watched my boyfriend slip inside with a woman carrying an overnight bag. I stayed quiet and something in me broke without making a sound. My name is Colette. I am 29, and I work as an HR analyst for a mid-size healthcare company. I used to think I could tell when a relationship was dying. I thought there would be a big fight, a screaming match, a suitcase dragged across the floor. I thought there would be a dramatic moment where you look at each other and say, this is it. But what I learned is that sometimes a relationship ends in tiny, humiliating slices. It ends while you are still folding their laundry. It ends while you are still saying good morning. It ends while you are still sitting across from them at dinner, nodding, smiling, pretending you are not starving for a kind of love they stopped serving months ago. That night, I did not confront him. I did not call. I did not text. I did not even breathe right for a few seconds. I just stared at my phone like it was a window into someone else's life. Because here's the part that still makes my stomach twist. I was on a work trip. I had left that morning with my suitcase and my travel mug and the kind of kiss that used to mean something. I had said I will be back in 2 days. He had smiled and said drive safe, babe, and he had held my face like he cared. So when the Ring app showed me him coming in at a time no one should be coming in with someone who was not me, my brain tried to protect me. It tried to label it as a misunderstanding, a cousin, a coworker, a neighbor who needed help. Then I saw the overnight bag, a pale pink duffel with a little charm on the zipper, a charm that caught the hallway light as she walked, like she had been there before, like she belonged. My first instinct was to call him and let my voice crack through the speaker. My second instinct was worse. It was to blame myself, to think maybe I pushed him away, maybe I got boring, maybe I worked too much, maybe I stopped being fun. Then the third instinct arrived, quiet and cold, like a hand settling on my shoulder. Watch, do not move, let him think you do not know. So I watched. The camera caught him holding the door open. It caught him glancing down the hall, like he was checking for witnesses. Then it caught him laughing. Not a polite laugh, not a forced laugh, a real laugh. The laugh he used to give me when I made him snort by accident. He said something to her that I could not hear, and she swatted his arm like a girlfriend. Then the door shut, and the app went silent. I set my phone on the hotel bed and stared at the ceiling until my eyes burned. I felt like I was floating above my own body, watching some version of myself who had not gotten the memo. The version of me who still had his hoodie at home. The version of me who still had our photo as her lock screen. The version of me who still believed we were just going through a rough patch. The camera caught him holding the door open. It caught him glancing down the hall, like he was checking for witnesses. Then it caught him laughing. Not a polite laugh, not a forced laugh, a real laugh. The laugh he used to give me when I made him snort by accident. He said something to her that I could not hear, and she swatted his arm like a girlfriend. Then the door shut, and the app went silent. I set my phone on the hotel bed and stared at the ceiling until my eyes burned. I felt like I was floating above my own body, watching some version of myself who had not gotten the memo. The version of me who still had his hoodie at home. The version of me who still had our photo as her lock screen. The version of me who still believed we were just going through a rough patch. In the morning, I went to my conference meetings with a polite smile and shaking hands. I nodded in rooms full of people who had no idea my life had cracked open the night before. I laughed at small jokes. I made small talk about travel and weather. And all the while, my mind kept returning to one question I refused to answer yet. How long had this been going on? When I got back home the next day, I did not rush inside like I normally would. I stood outside the building for a second, holding my keys, listening to the quiet hum of the hallway beyond the door. I expected to smell perfume that was not mine. I expected to see a hair tie on the couch. I expected to find proof everywhere, like some obvious crime scene. But our apartment looked normal, clean, almost too clean. He was at the kitchen counter, cutting strawberries like a man in a commercial. He looked up and smiled, bright and easy. Hey, you are back early. I missed you. He walked over and hugged me. He smelled like his soap. The same one we had bought together. He kissed my forehead like I was precious, and I realized something terrifying. He was good at this. He pulled away and studied my face. You okay? You look tired. I forced my mouth into something that could pass as a smile. Just a long day. He offered to order dinner. He asked about my trip. He listened with the right amount of interest. He laughed at the right moments. He touched my knee while we watched a show. His hand rested there like a claim, and I let him, because the second I accused him without proof, he would turn it into my fault. I knew that type of man. I worked with their paperwork after the damage was done. I knew how easily they turned truth into drama and drama into an excuse. So I did not accuse, I observed. That night, while he showered, I opened the refrigerator like I was looking for water. My eyes went straight to the shelf where we kept leftovers. There was a plastic container I did not recognize. It had a little label on it, handwritten, neat. The label said, "For you." My throat tightened. I held it, and my hands felt strangely calm, like my body had already accepted what my heart was still trying to debate. I put the container back exactly where it was and closed the fridge. When he came out of the shower, hair damp, face relaxed, he asked me if I wanted to go away for a weekend soon. Just us. Reset. Reset. Like we were still a team. I smiled and said, "That sounds nice." He kissed my cheek. "We will plan it." Then he got into bed and fell asleep in minutes. I did not sleep. I lay there listening to his breathing, and I started collecting quiet details like they were evidence in a file. The next day, I noticed the laundry smelled different. Not bad. Different. Like a soft floral dryer sheet we did not use. 2 days later, I found a bobby pin on the bathroom floor. I did not wear bobby pins. My hair was too thick and too stubborn for anything that delicate. When I held it in my palm, I felt a sharp, clean kind of anger. Not loud, not messy. Focused. I put the bobby pin in my desk drawer, inside an old envelope. Then I waited. A week passed. Then another. He kept acting normal. He kept doing the right things in a way that felt practiced. He brought home my favorite sparkling water. He sent a sweet text midday. He suggested we invite friends over, like he wanted our life to look solid from the outside, but there were cracks. He started keeping his phone face down. He started taking calls on the balcony. He started being strangely protective of our shared laptop, the one he used for streaming. One evening, I sat on the couch while he cooked and I opened the streaming app on my phone. I wanted to watch a comfort show. Something familiar. Something that would make my chest loosen. The app asked for a code to sign in. A code. We had never had that before. I looked up at him. Hey, did the account update or something? He did not turn around. He kept stirring the sauce. Oh yeah, it logged me out earlier. I reset it. Must be a security thing. My voice stayed light. What is the code? He paused just a fraction. Then he said, I will log you in later. I am cooking. I watched him for another second. I watched the way his shoulders held tension he did not want me to see. Then I nodded. Okay. I did not push. I did not argue. I let him feel safe. That night, after he fell asleep, I opened my laptop and logged into our internet provider account. We had a shared login because the bill was in my name. I had access to everything connected to our Wi-Fi. Every device that had ever logged on. My fingers hovered over the trackpad. My heart was loud, but my face stayed blank, like a woman reading a report at work. I found the device list. 2 phones, 1 tablet, 1 smart TV, 1 game console, and then 1 more device. A phone I did not recognize labeled with a name. Juniper's iPhone. My stomach dropped so hard it felt like gravity changed. Juniper. I did not know a Juniper. He had never mentioned a Juniper. Not once. Not in a story, not in passing, not in the way men casually sprinkle names into conversation when they are harmless. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred. Then I took a screenshot. I saved it in a folder labeled Benefits Enrollment because no one ever opens an HR folder they do not understand. The next morning, I kissed him goodbye before work. I smiled like I was fine. At my office, between emails and meetings, I opened my notes app and started writing down dates. Not dramatic dates, tiny dates. The nights he took longer to come home. The mornings he was too cheerful. The times the Ring app showed someone arriving when I was not there. I told myself I was not being crazy. I was being accurate. Then came the first micro twist. One Friday, he told me he had a work happy hour. He said it casually, like he expected me to nod. He did not even ask if I wanted to come. I said, have fun. Text me when you are on your way home. He smiled. Always. That night, I sat alone on the couch and waited. I did not call him. I did not send question marks. I did not beg for attention. At around midnight, the Ring app sent a motion notification. I opened it. It was not him. It was a woman, alone, standing at our door like she had a key but decided not to use it. She looked straight at the peephole for a second, like she was thinking. Then she leaned down and placed something in front of the door. A small bag. Then she walked away. My hands went cold. I kept watching the screen, waiting for her to come back, waiting for him to appear behind her. No one did. The hallway went quiet. I waited 10 minutes, then 20. Then I stood up and walked to the door, slowly, like I was moving through water. I opened it. There was a gift bag on the mat, pale pink tissue paper, a little tag on the handle. The tag said, for Wilder, from Jay. Wilder. That was my boyfriend's name. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. I carried the bag into the kitchen, set it on the counter, and stared at it like it might bite me. Then I opened it. Inside was a cologne set. Not the kind I would buy him. This one was expensive, clean, intimate, the kind of scent a woman chooses when she plans to be close enough to smell it on his skin. I held the box and felt my face go hot with humiliation. Not because he cheated. I already suspected it. The humiliation came from the confidence of this woman, the casualness, the way she placed a gift at my door like the apartment belonged to her too. I did not cry. I put the cologne back in the bag. Then I did something I surprised myself with. I wrote a thank you note. Not a messy note. Not an angry note. A polite note on a clean piece of paper. Thank you. He will love it. I folded it, placed it in the bag, and set the bag back outside the door exactly where she left it. Then I sat down and waited. Wilder came home close to 1 in the morning. He walked in smelling like beer and fake confidence. Hey babe, you still up? I looked up from my book. Yeah, could not sleep. He kissed my forehead and headed toward the bedroom, then paused when he noticed the bag was gone. His eyes flicked to me too fast. Everything okay? I smiled softly. Someone left you a gift. His face went blank for half a second. A gift? I nodded. It was on the mat. I assumed it was for you. He forced a laugh that did not reach. His eyes, weird, probably one of the neighbors. I tilted my head. The tag had your name and an initial. His shoulders stiffened. What initial? I shrugged like it did not matter. He blinked and I watched his mind sprint. Then he said, oh, that must be my coworker, Jenna. She was joking about getting me something. I let the silence stretch Jenna. He waited for me to react. For jealousy. For interrogation. For drama. I gave him none. I just said that was nice of her. Then I turned the page of my book. He stood there for a second longer, confused. Then he went into the bedroom. I heard him pick up his phone. I heard the soft tap of urgent typing. And I knew I had just stepped into a different version of our relationship. The version where he thought he was still in control and I was too sweet to see. I went to work the next day with my calm face on. I did my job. I answered emails. I smiled in meetings, but my mind was building something. That weekend, Wilder suggested brunch. He held my hand across the table like a man trying to prove a point. He said he loved me in that casual way people say it when they think it is a shield. I said it back because I was not ready to end it yet. Not until I understood the full shape of what he had done. The second micro twist came from a place I did not expect. My friend Rowan invited me out for coffee after work. Rowan was blunt in a way that could be annoying, but that day it saved me. Halfway through my latte, Rowan leaned forward and said, I saw Wilder last week. My grip tightened on the cup. Where? Rowan hesitated. At a rooftop bar downtown. He was with a woman. I forced my face to stay neutral. Do you know her? Rowan shook their head. But I heard her call him something. Not Wilder. My stomach turned. What did she call him? Rowan looked uncomfortable. She called him Beckett. I felt my pulse slam. Beckett? That was the name of his old college friend. The friend he always talked about. The friend who moved away. The friend who had 1,000 stories attached to him. Why would someone call my boyfriend that name? I smiled at Rowan like I was just curious. That is strange. Then I changed the subject. On the drive home, my mind replayed it over and over. Juniper's iPhone. A gift from from Jay, a woman calling him Beckett. There was a pattern, and I could not see it yet. That night, Wilder fell asleep on the couch with the TV still on. His phone buzzed on the coffee table, screen lighting up. A message preview popped up. "Cannot wait to see you again, Beckett." My mouth went dry. I did not grab his phone. I did not unlock it. I did not need to. I opened my own phone and took a photo of his screen from above, careful to capture the message and the time. Then I turned the phone face down exactly the way he always did, and I waited for the moment to use it. Days passed. He became sweeter. He started cleaning more. He started bringing me little treats like a man bribing a dog not to bark. I realized he was scared. Not scared of losing me, scared of being caught. And that is when I started planning my silent revenge. Not revenge like screaming and throwing plates. Revenge like a calm document trail. I checked our lease. My name was on it, his was too, but the renewal was in 3 months. I checked our shared bank app. Most of our bills were paid through my account. I checked the streaming services and the devices. I checked everything the way I would check a file at work. I kept screenshots, dates, times, proof. Then on a Tuesday morning, I got an email from our apartment management. Subject line, visitor parking notice. I opened it at my desk. The email said there had been multiple reports of a specific car using visitor parking overnight. They included the license plate number. The car was registered to a resident, and the warning was to stop using visitor parking immediately or face towing. The license plate number meant nothing to me at first. Then I remembered something. The night I watched the Ring footage, the woman had stepped out of a dark sedan. I had not paid attention to the car then. I had only seen the overnight bag, but the Ring app saved the clip. I opened it again on my lunch break, zooming in, hands steady, breath shallow. The sedan's rear plate was visible when she closed the trunk. It matched the plate number in the email. My pulse slowed in a way that scared me, because now I knew she was not a random stranger. She lived here, in my building, and that meant this was not just cheating. This was a second life happening inches away from mine. I sat there at my desk, staring at the screen, and I felt my body go cold with clarity. I knew exactly what I was going to do, but first I needed one more piece. One name, one door, one confirmation that would end the mystery I had been dragging behind me like a heavy chain. That night, Wilder told me he had to work late. I kissed him and said, "Okay, be safe." Then I waited for his car to leave the parking lot, and I walked upstairs. Quick real-life pause. This part is for me. Some nights I am editing and I want to quit, but then I see your comments and I keep going. Like, subscribe, and tell me your city, state, or country. Okay, continuing. All right, now let me take you back. I stood in the hallway on the floor above mine, heart beating slow, holding my phone like a shield. The apartment numbers were lined up, clean and quiet, like nothing bad ever happened behind those doors. I checked the visitor parking email again. It listed the unit number connected to the car. I walked to that door. I could hear faint music inside, something soft and romantic. My hand hovered near the doorbell, and I realized this was the moment that would change everything. I pressed it. Footsteps approached. The door opened, and there she was, the woman from the Ring video. She was wearing a sweatshirt that looked painfully familiar. Wilder's college hoodie, the one he said he lost years ago. She smiled at me like she had never seen me before. "Hi." I kept my voice calm. "Hey, sorry to bother you. I think you might have accidentally gotten a package delivered to my place last week. A gift bag." Her smile faltered just slightly. "What gift bag?" I tilted my head, gentle. "Pale pink," Tag said for Wilder. Her face changed, not into anger, into calculation. Then she laughed, like I was the funny one. "Oh, that. Wilder said you knew about me." I let the silence stretch until it became uncomfortable. Then I gave her a small, polite smile. And I asked the one question I knew would make her tell me the truth without realizing she was doing it. "When did he start calling himself Beckett with you?" Her eyes flicked to my face, then to the hallway behind me, like she expected him to be standing there. For a second I saw it. The tiny panic under the makeup, the way her smile went stiff at the corners. Then she lifted her chin, defensive. "He does not call himself that. That is just like a nickname." I nodded slowly, as if that answered everything. A nickname. I let my gaze fall to the hoodie she was wearing, the one I had seen in old photos. I could almost hear Wilder telling me some story about college nights, how that hoodie meant freedom and dumb choices and loyalty to people he barely kept in touch with. He had told me it was lost. Her hand moved instinctively to the front pocket, like she suddenly realized what she had on. I kept my voice soft, polite. "I just want to make sure I have the right person. You are Juniper, right?" Her face tightened. "Who are you?" I swallowed, and I made my expression carefully blank. Not angry, not broken, just present. "I live downstairs. I am Colette." Something flashed in her eyes. Recognition, maybe. Or maybe she had rehearsed my name in her head already, like a villain learning the hero's weak spot. She leaned a shoulder against the doorframe, trying to look relaxed. "Wilder told me you two were kind of not really together." I breathed in through my nose. That sentence hit like cold water. Not really together. As if I had imagined the lease, the shared bills, the toothbrush next to mine, the way he held my hand in public, the way he slept next to me and pretended his body was not a lie. I kept my voice calm. "That is interesting, because he kissed me goodbye this morning." Juniper's smile returned, thin and sharp. "He kisses a lot of people goodbye, I guess." My stomach twisted, but I did not show it. Shame tried to crawl up my throat, but I pushed it down. I would feel it later. I would fall apart later. Not here, not in her hallway, not while she was studying me like a puzzle. I glanced past her into the apartment. Clean, styled, a candle burning on a side table, a throw blanket folded neatly. There was a framed photo on the wall by the kitchen, angled toward the entry like it was meant to be seen the moment you walked in. It was Wilder and Juniper. They were smiling at the camera like the world was simple. My vision went slightly blurry for a moment, like my eyes were trying to refuse the image. Juniper noticed where I was looking, and her mouth curved in satisfaction. "He looks happy, does not he?" I felt my chest tighten, but my voice stayed steady. "When did you take that?" She shrugged. "A couple weeks ago?" "A couple weeks?" My mind started counting backward automatically, like an internal calendar flipping pages. A couple weeks ago, he had surprised me with dinner and told me he wanted to reset. A couple weeks ago, he had held my face face like he cared. A couple weeks ago, I had been sitting on the couch, wondering why the laundry smelled floral. I swallowed the bitter taste in my mouth. Did he tell you he lives with me? Juniper rolled her eyes. He told me you were roommates. He said you were both saving money. He said you were trying to untangle things. Her words were smooth, too practiced. Like she had rehearsed them for this exact moment. Like he had prepared her for the day I showed up at her door, calm and polite, holding my own heart in my hands. I nodded as if I believed her. Then I looked right at her and said, I am not here to fight you. Juniper's eyebrows lifted, surprised. I leaned in just slightly, keeping my voice low, confidential. I just need one thing. I need you to tell me exactly what he told you about me. Word for word, if you can. Her lips parted and she hesitated. The confidence wavered, because suddenly I was not the screaming girlfriend she could dismiss. I was not making it easy for her to play victim. I was asking a quiet question that made the room feel smaller. She frowned. Why? I held her gaze, my face calm, because I do not like being lied to. And right now, I think we are both being lied to. Juniper's jaw worked. She glanced down the hall again like she was checking for an audience. Then she laughed once, short and dismissive. You are being dramatic. I did not move. I did not blink. I waited. Silence is a strange weapon. People hate it. They fill it with confessions just to stop the discomfort. Juniper's shoulders dropped a fraction. He said you were controlling. He said you were clingy. He said you wanted marriage and babies and he felt trapped. He said he tried to leave but you would cry and threaten to ruin his life. My throat burned. Not because it was true. Because it was cruel. Because he had painted me as a monster so he could keep me as a backup plan. So he could cheat without guilt. I nodded slowly, absorbing each word like I was filing it away. Okay. Juniper's eyes narrowed. That is it? Okay. I gave her a small, polite smile. Yeah, thank you. She blinked, thrown off. You are not going to, I do not know, yell? I shook my head. No, yelling does not change facts. Juniper scoffed. Whatever. Look, he is not a bad guy. He is just complicated. Complicated. Another pretty word people use to excuse selfishness. I shifted my weight, still calm. One more question? Her expression tightened again. What? I glanced toward the photo on her wall, then back to her. Does he have a key to your place? Juniper's chin lifted. Yes, of course. I nodded like that made sense. And do you have a key to mine? Her eyes widened a little and she recovered fast. No, the lie slid out too quickly. I could smell it. I kept my voice gentle. Okay. Juniper's eyes flicked over my face, like she was trying to read whether I believed her. When she could not tell, her irritation flared. Why are you doing this? If you want him, keep him. I do not care. He will come back to me anyway. That sentence hit hard. It was meant to. It was meant to make me feel small, replaceable, already erased. I breathed in slowly. Then I said, I am not trying to keep him. Juniper stared at me. I stepped back from her doorway, my voice still calm. I am trying to understand what kind of man he is, so I never make the mistake of loving him again. Her mouth opened, then closed. I turned to leave. And that is when she said it, like a final punch. She told me you were too smart to ever leave. I stopped walking, but I did not turn around. My stomach dropped, not from pain, but from clarity. Too smart to leave. He thought my intelligence was a cage. He thought I would rationalize my way into staying. He thought I would be so focused on being calm and mature that I would swallow betrayal like medicine. I turned back slowly and met Juniper's eyes. I smiled, soft and almost kind. Tell him he is about to learn the difference between smart and foolish. Then I walked away. By the time I got back downstairs, my legs were shaking. My hands were steady, but my knees felt weak, like my body was holding up a building that had already collapsed. Inside my apartment, everything looked normal again. The couch, the kitchen, the framed photo of Wilder and me at the beach, smiling like two people who did not know how their story would rot. I shut the door and leaned my forehead against it. For a few seconds, I let myself feel it. Humiliation like a hot flush under my skin. Anger sharp and clean. Grief heavy and slow. And under it all, fear. Not fear of being alone. Fear of realizing how easily he could look me in the eyes and lie. My phone buzzed. A text from Wilder. Running late. Love you. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered. I typed back, okay, just one word, calm, neutral. Then I opened the Ring app and saved the clip from that first night. I saved the clip from the night Juniper dropped off the gift. I saved every timestamp I could find. I opened the internet provider account again and took a screenshot of Juniper's phone being connected to our Wi-Fi with the dates visible. Then I opened my desk drawer and pulled out the envelope with the bobby pin inside. I laid it on the table like it was an exhibit. My heart was not racing anymore. It was steady, like my body had accepted its new job. Document, protect, exit. When Wilder came home, he was too cheerful. That fake brightness people use when they know they are guilty and they want to smother suspicion with charm. He kissed my cheek. Sorry, babe. Work was insane. I looked up at him and smiled. No worries. His eyes searched my face. You sure? I nodded. Yeah, just tired. He went to wash his hands, humming, relaxed. He had no idea I had stood in Juniper's doorway. He had no idea I had seen their photo. He had no idea she told me he thought I was too smart to leave. A small part of me wanted to walk into the kitchen and say her name. Say the word cheater. Watch him crumble, but I did not. Because I wanted him comfortable. I wanted him overconfident. The next morning, I did something I had never done before. I called in sick. Not because I was sick, because I needed time. When Wilder left for work, I waited until his car pulled out. Then I opened his closet and pulled down a shoebox I had seen him hide months ago. He told me it was old paperwork, keepsakes, nothing important. Inside were receipts, a hotel keycard, a folded note with lipstick on it, a tiny bottle of perfume, a second phone charger, not ours, and at the bottom, an envelope with printed photos. Photos of him and Juniper at that rooftop bar. The one Rowan mentioned, him with his arm around her waist, her hand on his chest. Both of them smiling at the camera like they were celebrating something. I felt a sting behind my eyes, but I did not cry. I took photos of the photos. I took photos of the receipts. I took photos of the hotel keycard. Then I put everything back exactly the way it was. Perfectly. Like nothing had been touched. My phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. It was a screenshot of my Ring camera footage. The message under it said, "Why are you stalking him?" My blood blood-rankled Juniper. She had found the clip somehow, which meant Wilder had shown it to her, which meant he knew. Maybe not everything, maybe not the proof folder, but he knew something. My throat tightened. This was the part where men like him flip the script, where they turn your evidence into your crime, where they paint you as unstable so no one asks why they were lying in the first place. I stared at the message until my vision sharpened with anger. Then I typed back, calm and simple. I am not stalking him. I am verifying my reality. The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, a new message arrived. He is coming over tonight. He said he needs to talk to you. Please do not embarrass yourself. My hands were steady as I set my phone down. Talk to me tonight. That meant he was going to confront me. That meant he was going to try to control the narrative. I looked around the apartment. The home that had held my love like a glass bowl, now filled with something rotten. I walked to my desk and opened my laptop. I created a new folder. I named it Quiet Exit. Inside it, I placed every screenshot, every timestamp, every photo, every piece of proof. Then I opened a blank document and typed a simple list. Lease, utilities, shared accounts, property, safety. I was not spiraling. I was organizing. When Wilder came home that evening, his energy was different, less charming, more tense, like a man who knew his lies were slipping, and he was deciding whether to tighten his grip or run. He set his keys down too hard. He did not kiss me. He did not smile. He looked at me across the living room and said, "We need to talk." I kept my face calm. Okay. His nostrils flared slightly, like my calmness annoyed him. "Juniper told me you showed up at her door." I nodded. I did. Wilder's eyes narrowed. "Why?" I paused, just long enough to make him uncomfortable. I wanted him to fill the silence with his own assumptions. Then I asked very softly, "Did you tell her I was controlling?" His mouth opened, then he shut it. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. "Colette, you are twisting things." I tilted my head. "Am I? Or are you?" His jaw tightened. "You cannot just go harassing people." Harassing. There it was. He was trying to make me the problem. I stayed calm. I asked her what you told her about me. She answered. Wilder's eyes flashed. "She is dramatic." I nodded slowly. "I think you like dramatic women. You just do not like when they ask questions." His face went hard. "You are being ridiculous." I kept my voice level. "Then answer one question." He scoffed. "What question?" I looked him straight in the eyes. "When were you going to tell me you gave her a key to our apartment?" His face froze. Just for a fraction of a second, the mask slipped. And I knew I had hit something real. His face froze. Just for a fraction of a second, the mask slipped. And he recovered fast, the way practiced liars do. He scoffed like I had accused him of stealing a pencil. "I did not give her a key." "What are you talking about?" I kept my voice even. "The visitor parking notice came to my email because the lease is tied to me. Your girlfriend lives upstairs. She has been here overnight enough times for management to notice. And she said you have a key to her place. So I am asking again, did you give her a key to ours?" Wilder's eyes sharpened, angry now. "You went to the office? You are spying. You are proving my point. You cannot let anything go." There it was. The story he told her. The story he told himself. The story where I was the problem. I nodded slowly, like I was considering his words. Then I said, "I did not go to the office. They emailed me, and I did not spy." I verified. "There is a difference." He stepped closer, looming, trying to make me shrink. "You are acting like I did something wrong." I held his gaze. "You did something wrong." He laughed, harsh. "You do not even know what you are talking about." I let the silence sit between us until his laugh died. Then I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I did not wave it in his face. I did not shove it at him. I just held it like a calm person holding a mirror. I said, "I know about Juniper's phone connecting to our Wi-Fi. I know about the hotel key card in your shoebox. I know about the messages where she calls you Beckett. I know she dropped off a cologne gift with your name on it. I know you showed her my ring footage and called it stalking, because that is what men do when they are cornered. They do not apologize. They attack the evidence." Wilder's face changed, and for a second he looked truly afraid. Then he switched tactics. He softened his voice. "Colette, babe, listen. It is not what it looks like." I felt something inside me go quiet. That sentence used to scare me, because it meant I was about to be talked in circles until I doubted my own eyes. Now it just sounded tired. I asked, "What is it then?" He exhaled like he was burdened by my question. "We were going through a rough patch. You were busy all the time. You were stressed. You did not even look at me some nights. Juniper was just someone to talk to. She made me feel wanted." I nodded slowly, absorbing it. Then I said, "So you decided to make yourself wanted by lying to two women instead of being honest with one." His jaw tightened. "You are twisting it again." I gave him a small, almost sympathetic smile. "That is the thing about truth. You cannot twist it. You can only avoid it." He rubbed his face, frustrated. "Okay, fine. Yes, I have been seeing her, but it did not mean anything. It was not serious, not serious. Like the photo on her wall was a joke. Like the key he denied did not matter. Like the overnight bag was a coincidence." I asked, "How long?" He hesitated. "A couple months. A couple months." My stomach tightened and I felt the shame try to rise again. All those nights I waited for him. All those mornings I made coffee. All those times I blamed myself for his distance. Breathed in slowly and kept my voice calm. "Did you ever plan to tell me?" He looked away and that was the answer. Then he said, "We can fix this. We can go to therapy. We can start over. You are overreacting. People make mistakes." Mistakes. I nodded once like I was agreeing. Then I said, "You did not make a mistake. You made a system." His eyes snapped to mine. "What?" I kept my tone gentle. "You built a life where I paid the bills, kept the home stable, kept your image clean, and upstairs you played a different character with a different name. That is not a mistake. That is planning." His face hardened again. "You are being dramatic. I am done with this. If you cannot move on, then maybe you are right. Maybe we should break up." The audacity of him offering me the exit like it was his decision. I nodded. "Okay." The word landed heavy in the room. Wilder blinked, caught off guard. "Okay?" I stood up slowly, smoothing my shirt like I was about to leave a meeting. "Not a relationship, yeah. We should break up." His mouth opened, then he closed it, like his brain had not rehearsed this outcome. "Wait, that is it? You are not even gonna fight?" I looked at him. "I fought for you for a long time. Quietly, alone. You just did not notice, because it did not make noise." He scoffed, trying to recover control. So what, you are going to kick me out? This is my place too? I nodded. It is. And I am not going to scream. I am not going to throw your things. I am not going to beg. I am going to follow the lease exactly the way it is written. His eyes narrowed. What does that mean? I walked to the desk and opened my laptop. I turned the screen so he could see the email draft already prepared. It was addressed to building management. I said, it means you and I will sign a roommate release agreement. You will remove yourself from the lease, or I will ask management to begin the formal process for lease modification due to unauthorized occupancy and key sharing. Since someone you are sleeping with is visiting overnight and potentially has access to the unit, I am not accusing. I am documenting. Wilder's face went pale. You cannot do that. I kept my voice calm. I can, and I will, because you do not get to endanger me and call it a rough patch. He swallowed. Juniper does not have a key. I looked at him for a long beat. Then I said, tell her to text you a photo of it. Right now. If she does not have it, that should be easy. His eyes flickered, panicked. Colette, come on. I held my gaze steady. Do it. Wilder stared at me, then looked away. He did not reach for his phone because he already knew. I nodded once. Okay. I clicked send. The email whooshed away, quiet and final. Wilder's anger flared because he was losing control. He stepped forward, voice rising. You are trying to ruin me. I did not raise my voice. I did not flinch. I just said no. I am removing myself from the part of your life where I cover for you. He stared at me, breathing hard like he wanted to provoke me into a scene. When I did not give him one, he changed tactics again, softer, desperate. Colette, please do not do this. I made a mistake. I love you. I looked at him and felt something surprising. Nothing. Not hate, not love. Just an emptiness where my devotion used to be. I said, if you loved me, you would not have needed a different name upstairs. His face tightened at that, and I watched him realize Juniper had said more than he wanted. He grabbed his jacket, moving fast now, angry and embarrassed. Fine. You want to be petty? Be petty. I will go upstairs. At least she appreciates me. He stormed to the door and yanked it open, and that was when my phone buzzed again. A message from Juniper. It was not words. It was a photo of a key in her hand. A key with a little black tag that had our apartment number printed on it. My throat went tight. Wilder froze when he heard the buzz. He turned his head slightly, eyes landing on my phone screen. His face went white. Juniper had just proven it for me, without realizing she was handing me the final nail. I lifted the phone and looked at him, calm. She just texted you a picture of the key you said she did not have. Wilder's mouth opened, but no sound came out. He was caught, not by my accusations, by his own mess, finally collapsing under its own weight. He stepped toward me, frantic. Give me that. I stepped back and held the phone higher, not dramatic, just firm. No. He stopped, breathing hard, eyes wild. You are insane. I stared at him. You gave a stranger access to my home and then called me controlling for noticing. His face twisted. She is not a stranger. I nodded slowly. She is to me. The hallway outside was quiet. The apartment felt suddenly too small, like it could not contain his lies anymore. Wilder's voice dropped, dangerous and low. You think you are so smart. You think you won? I looked at him, calm. I did not win. I woke up. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he laughed, bitter, and walked out, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. The sound echoed through the apartment like a final punctuation mark. I stood there, hands shaking now that the moment had passed, my body finally letting go of the tension it had held for weeks. Then I did the quietest thing I could do. I changed the locks. Not the whole building lock, of course. Just the inner hardware the management allowed as a temporary security measure, the kind that did not break lease rules. I had already checked. I always checked. I slept with my phone on the pillow beside me. The next morning, management replied to my email. They thanked me. They said unauthorized key duplication and third-party access were serious. They asked for documentation. I sent the screenshot of Juniper's phone on our Wi-Fi. I sent the photo of the key. I sent the visitor parking notice. No drama, just proof. By the end of the week, Wilder received a notice to attend a meeting with management regarding lease compliance. He texted me nonstop, angry, begging, threatening, apologizing. He cycled through emotions, like a man flipping channels, searching for the one that would pull me back into his control. I did not respond. 2 days later, I got another message from an unknown number. This one was not Juniper. It was a woman. The message said, "Hi, my name is Holland. I think you and I need to talk about Wilder." My stomach dropped again, but this time it was not shock. It was grim confirmation. I replied, "Who are you?" She responded with a screenshot, a photo of Wilder kissing her on a sidewalk, time-stamped from a month ago. Then she wrote, "He told me he was single. He told me his ex was crazy and still lived with him. I just found out about the other girl upstairs. I am sorry. I did not know." My throat tightened. There it was. The final twist. Juniper was not the only one. There was a whole trail of women he fed different versions of himself to, like he was testing which story would stick. I stared at the message and something in me settled into a hard, clean peace. This was not about me failing to keep him. This was about him never being a man you could keep. I replied to Holland with one line. "I believe you. If you want to protect yourself, keep your screenshots. I have mine." Then I did something I had not planned. I forwarded that message thread to management too, with her permission, not as revenge, but as a safety concern. Because a man who hands out keys and names like candy is not just cheating. He is a liability. The meeting happened without me being there. Management did not need my presence. They had my documentation. Wilder came home that evening with a look on his face I had never seen before. Small. He stood in the living room like a guest, not a resident. His voice was flat. "They are letting me out of the lease. I have 30 days to move out." I nodded. "Okay." He stared at me, waiting for tears, for regret, for softness. When he did not get it, his anger sparked. "You are really going to throw away everything over this?" I looked at him, calm. "You threw it away. I am just cleaning up after you." His jaw tightened. "Juniper is furious. She says you ruined her life." I felt a bitter laugh try to rise, but I swallowed it. I did not raise my voice. I just said, "You ruined her life and mine, and probably Holland's. I am the only one here who told the truth." Wilder's eyes narrowed. "You think you are better than me?" I shook my head slightly. slightly. No, I think I finally see you clearly. He stood there, breathing hard, then his shoulders dropped. His voice softened, almost broken. I never meant to hurt you. I held his gaze and felt nothing again. Then do not hurt the next one. That is all I have. For a moment, he looked like he might cry. Then he did something that almost made me laugh from disbelief. He said, "Can I have my hoodie back?" The gray one, the hoodie. After everything, he wanted fabric, comfort, a piece of me. I walked to the closet, pulled it off the hanger, and handed it to him without a word. As he took it, our fingers brushed. I felt nothing. He turned toward the door. Then he stopped like he remembered something. You know, Juniper called me Beckett because she thought it sounded cooler. It was just a joke. A joke. I nodded slowly, sure. He waited for me to argue. For me to call him a liar again. For me to make it emotional. I did not. I just looked at him and said, "You can be whoever you want to be. Just do it somewhere that is not my home." He stared at me like he wanted to hate me, but he could not find the angle. He left. The door clicked shut behind him, quieter than the slam from before. Over the next month, he packed his things in tense, awkward trips. I was polite. I was distant. I kept the apartment calm like it belonged to someone who was healing, not someone who was bleeding. Juniper moved out a week after him. I found that out from management when they confirmed her unit had terminated early. Apparently, she had been promised something too. Something like a future. Something like a clean slate. And when she realized she was just a chapter in his system, she did not want to live in the same building as the woman he underestimated. On Wilder's final day, he came to pick up the last box. He did not look like the man who used to cut strawberries and smile. He looked tired, hollow, like a person who had finally met consequences. That did not care how charming he was. He carried the box to the door, then paused. "Colette." I looked up from the kitchen table. "Yes?" He swallowed. "I am sorry." His voice was small. Real, maybe. Or maybe just the last card he had left. I studied him for a moment, then nodded once. Okay. He blinked, confused by the same word that had haunted him since the night I stopped fighting. "That is all you have?" I held his gaze. "That is all you deserve." He stood there stunned, then he left. When the door shut, I exhaled. The apartment was quiet in a way that felt like peace, not loneliness. I walked to the hallway closet and pulled out a small box I had packed weeks ago. It was full of things that belonged to the relationship, not to me. Photos, movie tickets, a silly card he once wrote me. The little souvenirs that had held my hope. I did not burn them. I did not shred them. I just carried the box to the trash chute and dropped it in. No ceremony, just release. Then I went back inside and opened my laptop to change every password he had ever touched. Streaming accounts, email recovery options, Wi-Fi login, everything. And that is when I saw it. A notification from the Ring app. A new device had been trying to access my camera settings for days. I clicked into the log. The device name was not Wilder's phone. It was Juniper's. She had been trying to keep access to my camera even after everything. Even after she moved out. Even after the key was useless. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I removed the device and enabled two-factor authentication. Calm and thorough. She had not just been his affair. She had been his lookout. And maybe in her own twisted way she had wanted to watch me too. To confirm I was real. To confirm she had taken something from someone. I felt a chill run through me. Then it faded into something else. Relief. Because I had not been paranoid. I had been right. I sat down on the couch. The same couch where I had once waited for him with a heavy heart. And I let the quiet settle around me like a blanket. Then I picked up my phone and changed my lock screen. No more beach photo. No more smiling lie. Just a plain background and the time. Moving forward. Now stepping out of the story for a second, I want to talk to you like a real person. Because what messed with me the most was not the cheating. It was the way calm people get punished for being calm. When you do not scream, they call you cold. When you ask for proof, they call you controlling. When you stay quiet, they assume you will stay forever. And I had to learn something that honestly hurt to learn. Some people do not want love. They want a stage. They want a backup plan. They want someone reliable to carry the weight while they chase whatever makes them feel powerful. So if you are listening to this and something feels off in your relationship, do not ignore that little tight feeling in your chest. That feeling is not you being dramatic. It is your brain trying to protect you. You do not have to become loud to be strong. You do not have to beg to be chosen. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop explaining yourself and start documenting your reality. And if you ever needed permission to leave quietly without a scene, here it is. Because the moment I stopped reacting, I finally started winning my life back. One calm choice at a time.